Bucks. He was in New Orleans for that crazy game yesterday that Tampa ended up winning 51-27. They led 17-0 and fell behind and then blew them out. You don't really see that on the road very often in the NFL, but there's a lot of stuff you don't see in the NFL very often, which gets me to our picks from Friday. And I even said on the front end, I picked, we pick 4 college games. Usually 3 of them are going to be SEC. And then we don't pick the Tigers because both of us do a lot with the University of Memphis, so that would not be a fair thing to do. We go the Kirk Herbstreit route on that one.
That's right.
And then we pick an NFL game. And so I even presented it by saying I picked the Cowboys because I knew when Zach Boyd was here what a sucker he was for Dallas. The same trap was laid for one Brian Dacus, who's got a little savvy to him. Well, sometimes the heart over the head, and it's very, very costly because you realize our very first game, Tennessee and Florida, you won that game. Vols won, but they didn't cover the 14.5, so I lost. And, I've been on a roll. I came in 14-6. You realize I never lost another game. You realize that on this year I am 18-7. If I had actually been betting in Vegas,
that'd be really good.
Or even on my phone, how wealthy I would be.
That's right.
Of course, if I put money on it, I'd lose. And then I even was kind enough to say we're clearing the slate for you.
Right.
0-0.
Yeah.
So we are 3-1 because you picked Ohio State, and I took Oregon and Oregon. What a thrilling game that was, huh?
Yeah, it was incredible.
And Oregon is now, number 2 in the country. Mm-hmm. Texas, number 1. Boy, that's going to be unbelievable. They got Georgia this week.
Yeah.
You got Alabama, Tennessee. The hits just keep on coming. So we're 3-1, the both of us, going into the NFL game. Trap had been laid.
Yeah, it sure had.
You fell right into it.
I did. I was thinking about it all day yesterday, Dave.
Well, I don't mean to totally depress you, but my God, I'll get to it in Rust. I'll get into it in Rust, of which I have 3. But a crazy, crazy week for sure. So I was 4-1, you're 3-2. The early lead in our little battle now goes to me. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure studio. It's still going on. It's that really big, huge spa sale. That's right. You can get a state-of-the-art, wonderful spa starting at under $2,900. They got those cold plunges now. Really get your heart going. All the stars in Hollywood are buying them. You can get that for under $4,000. You can get a swim spa. That thing is amazing. It's a spa. You can swim, and it's huge. And it's $17,499, but there's special financing available. All you got to do is go see Billy, go see Lindsay, go see all our friends. They are the ones that have made Family Leisure so beautiful right now. Go check it out. You'll love what you see. I-40 and Whidden Road, where family and fun of the big spa sale all come together. We do a thing on Monday. I've got plenty of them. Let's get to precious medals. My first bronze medal has to go to Jim Harbaugh. I love Jim Harbaugh as a coach and toughness. I loved him as a player with the Bears. Not big on him with morals and following rules, but he showed his toughness again. I got to give him a bronze for this. He's coaching the Chargers, his team, against the Denver Broncos. He has, and I want to make sure I've got this, an atrial flutter. Basically, his heart goes out of rhythm. He goes back into the locker room where paramedics get his heart back in rhythm. Now, I don't know if that means they gave him shock, some sort of adrenaline rush medicine. I don't know what it was. They get his heart back in rhythm. He returns to the game, and they win the game. That's pretty amazing.
He deserves the game ball for that.
He does. That's toughness, man. So I give him a bronze medal for that. I got to give Army and Navy a bronze medal. It's so early. And honestly, if you look, Army has beaten 0. Nobody. Now, they got Notre Dame coming up. and I think they have to play North Texas. That Memphis will play this week.
That's right.
Tigers are 10-point favorites at home.
Oh,
in that
I
game,
was
by the way.
shocked. Yeah.
Well, I'm not shocked because North Texas hasn't beaten anybody
That's
either.
true.
They're 5-1, but
Yeah.
it's still.
Big
I'm
number.
a little surprised this was not an ESPN2 game. They put it on
yeah.
ESPNU 6:30 Saturday. I thought it would be a 2 game at 7 because it's 2 5-1s.
That's right. Yeah.
But North Texas, if you look, they haven't really beaten anybody, and so that game becomes the ESPNU 6:30 game, which is still national TV. I'll get into that a little bit later here with Tim Pernetti when we get to our not so great medals here. But Army and Navy 6-0 and 5-0 respectively. They're 23-25. Army is 6-0 and Navy is 5-0. They both have to play Notre Dame. Navy will play at USF when I hope Byron Brown is healthy by then, November the 9th. Boy, there were some shenanigans there. Before the game, I go to check. And so I talked to their play-by-play guy. And he basically says they're really being cagey, but I'm almost positive Byron Brown's going to play.
Yeah.
Okay? Then, literally 30 minutes later, Byron Brown comes out, is standing in the end zone on the back line with a crutch.
Yeah.
Okay?
Jeez.
But wait. Then the scoreboard says he's starting.
You're kidding.
No. We're going, is this the biggest fake out of all time? Because you remember, Ryan Silverfield did a similar thing in Orlando. And it's ironic now that I think about it. Against UCF, this was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe the only game that Seth Hennigan has ever missed.
That's right.
He came out for warm-ups.
I remember that,
He comes out, he can't throw the ball more than 10 yards. So all he's doing is throwing these little lob passes into the end zone, but he came out for warm-ups. And I'm thinking, this would top that. If this kid comes out with crutches and then they play him,
That'd be hilarious.
but he didn't play.
Holy cow.
And that could have been a big difference if he had played.
Huge difference.
Let's not kid ourselves.
How about this, Dave? So Navy has home against Notre Dame.
Right.
On the road against Rice, on the road against South Florida, and then home versus Tulane. That is a 4-game stretch right there. That's going to be really tough.
Well, I don't know about Rice.
Throw Rice out there, but it is on the road, travel throw in there for those
honestly,
other games.
You got to hope for either North Texas. Who was that other game? North Texas? Or
No, it was Tulane.
Tulane. Well, no, I know Tulane.
Tulane, South Florida, and Notre Dame
for
Navy.
So you got to hope both South Florida and Tulane beat them.
That's right.
That's 2. They're out of the picture.
Yeah. And then
Army
Army
beat Tulane. You've already beaten South Florida.
right.
Then you have a good thing going. Looks like Army's going to be in because go ahead and read Army's schedule.
The rest of the way for Army is home versus East Carolina, home versus Air Force, which Air Force is terrible.
Yeah.
At North Texas, home versus Notre Dame, home versus UTSA, and then Navy, but that's not going to count as a conference game.
And they do have Notre Dame.
They do have Notre Dame. That's right.
That would be a loss, but it would. They'll be favorites in every one of those conference games. I guess the toughest one is North Texas, right?
Yeah.
At North Texas.
At North Texas, that would be it.
Well, we'll see. We'll see from this week just how good North Texas is. That's my final bronze, is Army and Navy making the top 25. Just one silver. It could be a gold. It's to the Dodgers and their pitching staff. They beat the Mets, so you got to give Shohei Ohtani and credit. He was 2 for 4 yesterday, but they beat the Mets 9-0 last night. That's their 3rd straight postseason shutout. There's only 3 teams in history in the postseason that ever had 3 consecutive shutouts. It's their 33rd straight inning without giving up a run. That ties the 66 Orioles that beat the Dodgers in 4 straight.
Oh, wow.
If I recall correctly, and I'm pretty sure that's right. And that had Drysdale and Koufax. I mean, Jim Palmer was on that team. Mike Cuellar, I think, was on that Baltimore team. I mean, they just mowed people down. They had 33 straight shutout innings. So if the Dodgers shut out the Mets in the first inning in Game 2, that record will belong to this L.A. Dodgers team. Crazy, right? I mean, that is incredible. And then my gold, I'm sorry, I'm giving it to Vanderbilt. Can you imagine when we were plotting out this year and looking at wins and losses, and I know you do that at 5 o'clock with Brett.
Yep.
There's no way and I would have bet 1,000 to 1 odds in Vegas on this, that Alabama and Kentucky would lose to Vanderbilt. Back-to-back weeks, the Commodores would win games. Against those two? No way. So they're now 4-2. They're 2-1 in the league. So they've got Ball State this week, and they're like 26-point favorites to win that game. That would mean 5 wins. They've still got Auburn and South Carolina on their schedule. The others are really tough. But you got to imagine, out of those 3 teams, or just the 2, there's going to be 1 win there. Could we see Vandy in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl in late December?
That'd be incredible, Dave.
I think we're going to.
I would love that. My turn now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to start with my bronze, and I have a couple here. My first bronze goes to Army and Navy. You already mentioned it. The fact that both of them are in the top 25 for the first time since 1960. Incredible. Army is like my favorite team to bet on right now because, like you said, they play nobody. They're dominating everybody. It's a lot of fun to watch them play and a lot of fun to bet on them. They're going to be
in the championship game.
Oh, yeah. No, they are. They absolutely are, especially when we just looked at that schedule. My other bronze goes to the BYU student section, and more importantly, A.J. DeBonza, the number 1 player in the class of 2026. He was on a visit to BYU this past weekend. The student section's chanting his name, and right now BYU, who has a new coach, Kevin Young, coming in there, they're the leaders right now, according to a lot of people, for the number 1 player in the country, A.J. DeBonza, and just the fact that the idea of A.J. DeBonza, the number 1 player in the country, going to BYU to play for a season, that speaks a lot to the day and age of NIL and what they brought in with Kevin Young, because not only can he throw money at this guy and say, hey, come play for us, we've got a lot of money, but he also has that background of coaching in the NBA.
Since you brought up BYU,
yeah,
have you seen their quarterback?
Oh yeah.
Look up his name.
Yeah.
So this kid is really cool. He is Jewish.
He is, yeah.
They call him BY Jew.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, and he played on Saturday on Yom Kippur. He said he got permission from his parents and his rabbi.
Oh wow.
As well. And
Jake Retzlaff.
Yeah,
that's right.
And they call him BY Jew.
BY Jew.
Yeah, it's an incredible story.
It
Apparently
is.
He's really good too.
Yeah, he's a really good quarterback. And so now BYU could be in the mix for the number 1 player in the class of 2025, which would just be incredible and would be a huge boost to that BYU basketball team. My first silver has to go to all of I put OT football from the weekend. We had 4 games involving top 25 teams go to overtime on Saturday. Just made for a great night and a great afternoon of football. But I also want to throw Oregon and Ohio State into that, because while that game didn't go to overtime, it came down to the last seconds, and it was a thrilling game as well. I mean, that 6 to 6:30 slate, I mean, you're trying to bounce from one game to the other. You had Tennessee and Florida, you had Ole Miss and LSU, you had Oregon, Ohio State, and it was a lot of fun keeping up with all of them because all of those games were really, really fun to watch. My other silver medal goes to KenPom. KenPom rankings dropped at midnight last night, so now we have a look at what KenPom looks like, and I saw this. Parth, who does a great job covering the Tigers for the Daily Memphian, he was actually the one that alerted me to this on his Twitter page. Somebody, JG Trends, not familiar with their work, but this is their Twitter. They went down and broke down the average opponent rank via KenPom for the non-conference schedule, and the Memphis Tigers far and away have the toughest non-conference schedule according to KenPom. The Tigers' 13-game non-conference slate features 8 top 100 KenPom teams. So we knew it was going to be tough. Now KenPom backing that up, that it's going to be a very, very tough non-conference schedule.
Go 500, win your league,
that's right.
Get a decent seed.
You're in really, really good shape. And then finally, my gold medal, just like you, Dave, how could you not give it to Vanderbilt? After that win against Alabama, they bounced right back with a win over Kentucky. I mean, watching this guy played quarterback. Diego Pavia, he is incredible. He's so much fun. And after the game, they do the on-field interview with him again on SEC Network, and he's getting fired up. He's talking about Jerry Kill and what he means to him, and he almost let another cuss word fly, and he was able to bite his tongue and hold it back, and they even told him, hey, good job, you're improving. You didn't cuss on national TV this time. So it was a lot of fun.
His accuracy, 15 of 18 in that
How about
game.
that?
I mean, crazy. He's becoming a household name.
Yes, he is.
Diego Pavia. Love it, for sure. All right, I got 3, Russ. I'm going to start with the new AAC Commissioner, Tim Pernetti. I thought he did an excellent job at keeping the league together because, let's face it, he was very close to losing Tulane, Memphis, and USF. He kept his 3 teams with the 3 best markets pretty much all intact. I think he failed on this game with South Florida because he took a game. All he had to do was say, look, USF, we understand you're hurting, but you're already in Orlando. You can use Memphis's plane. You're going to come. You're going to play that game Friday night in Memphis. So he took, in essence, a game on a Friday night spotlight, and I think those get pretty good ratings, on the main ESPN, a spotlight game for 2 of the better teams in the league, and on paper, which promised to be a pretty explosive game. It was 59-50 the year before, right? You could have had that game on national spotlight TV, and instead you moved it to Orlando to play on ESPN Plus, to play in front of a crowd of less than 1,000 people. That, to me, is failing. Had you been Mike Oresco, he did it with Memphis in basketball during COVID. He moved a game that would have been in Memphis to Houston to accommodate the league and its better interests, and he absolutely should have done that, and he could have just made Memphis go to Tampa to make it up next year.
Yeah.
I think he failed on this one. I really do.
I mean, you look at the other games that were on that slate Friday night in that same time window. It was UNLV and Utah State. UNLV blew them out by 20. That game was on CBS Sports Network. And then FS1, you had Northwestern in Maryland, which Northwestern pulled the major upset. But still, I think ESPN with those 2 teams, USF and Memphis, would have gotten
Harvard.
Great rating.
That's
right.
Harvard.
That's right, yeah.
Come on. I mean, no.
That was a great game,
offense
Harvard and
to
Cornell.
the Ivy League, whatever, but they backed into ESPN into a bad corner
right.
too. I mean, I think he failed. I really do. I got to give a Russ medal to Nick Sirianni. Eagles were getting booed. There were some signs fire Sirianni in there. He gets into it with the fans. He'd already been reprimanded last year for a little overzealous stuff by his owner. Anytime you're in a position of authority and you get yourself into a mix-up with fans, you're never the winner. Never are you the winner. He gets a rust. And then my final rust goes to your Dallas Cowboys. Now, I know they were missing 2 key defensive players, but they paid all this money to Prescott and the Lamb. They couldn't score a touchdown. They lose to Detroit, which is a very good football team. They lose 47-9. They paid all that money to those 2 guys. They couldn't even produce a touchdown. 47-9. It's the worst home loss in the Jerry Jones era. That goes back to the old Texas Stadium in Irving. My goodness.
Yeah, no, it was not fun, Dave, at all. And before I get to my Russ, I should have put him in my medals, giving a shout-out to Kenny Dillingham. Speaking of Friday night, what a win for him at home, 27-19 over Utah, 16th-ranked Utah at the time.
Did you see his post-game
interview? That was so fun.
He's becoming famous for these post-game interviews now.
Yes, he is. No, that was a lot of fun. He was having a good time with the students and all the fans rushing the field. My first rush goes to Nick Sirianni. You already mentioned him. First off, as a Cowboy fan, you don't like anything that is Eagles related, but certainly not Nick Sirianni. I do not like this guy. He's extremely emotional, like you mentioned. And yeah, I mean, he gets the win for the Eagles over the Browns. I mean, let's calm down for a second. And then immediately goes to his own fans and starts yelling at them. It was just very, very strange to see. My second rush goes to the Dallas Cowboys. Dave, I appreciate you, throwing out these excuses about missing guys defensively, and I wanted to do that too, but I can't. when you look at this offense and the weapons they have, the money they've paid to these guys, I've been told for years by other Cowboy fans, by Cowboy reporters, by NFL people that Dak Prescott is the guy. And then I constantly see him make the same mistakes every single Sunday. Yes, he's a good quarterback. He makes good plays, but it also comes with a lot of bad plays at the same time. I'm not a huge Dak Prescott guy.
And how long was that contract you guys just signed?
It was a ton of money for a lot of years, Dave. I don't even want to think about it. That's right. The Lamb's getting a lot of money.
You're going to have to pay
Micah's about to get a lot of money.
You're not going to have any money left.
It's bad. So, yeah, offense looked bad. Defense looked bad. It was all around. And I'm sitting at dinner last night with my girlfriend, and God bless her, she doesn't watch a lot of football. And I'm watching the game. I go, Cowboys are terrible. She goes, well, I could have told you that. I was like, hey, wait a minute. You're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to be a Cowboys fan.
Your girlfriend gets my other goals.
Yeah, I guess so. And then, Dave, my last rust goes to this weekend in college football, the players spitting on other players. It was very weird. We had 2 players do it. One you saw in person, Dave. Mario Anderson got ejected for the Tigers, and I thought that was really going to hurt the Tigers without having him in the backfield, with how depleted that running back room already is right now. Mario Anderson gets a little frustrated, spits on a defensive player for USF. He's gone. And then later in the night, Oregon wide receiver Trayshawn Holden also got ejected for the same exact thing, spitting on an Ohio State player. So 2 in the same day, which is crazy to even hear. It's the 3rd this season, because back in week 0, SMU DB Brandon Crossley also spit on a Nevada player and got ejected as well. So very strange.
It's disgusting.
It's disgusting. That's right.
I got to tell you, first of all, you're spitting out of your own mask.
That's right.
Aren't you going to hit your?
It's gross.
It's
gross all around.
That's
right. The face mask.
The face guard that protects it.
Yeah.
You'd think you'd hit your own thing. It's gross. Now, in that particular instance, we learned something, and Ryan Silverfield told Greg Gaston at halftime this very thing. He didn't deny that Mario Anderson spit on him. So if you look at the replay, this defensive lineman, his last name is Eli Blue. He shoves him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a dirty play. And Eli Blue, by the way, is a pretty dirty player. Yeah. I think everybody knew that from past games. Anderson turns around and spits on him. And then Eli Blue punches.
Yeah, he did. He absolutely did. You're
Anderson.
Right.
It's Mario that gets ejected from the game. The reason Eli Blue didn't get ejected, according to Ryan Silverfield, the official said, well, he punched him with an open hand.
What?
Yes. I never knew you could throw a punch with an open hand and it wouldn't count.
Interesting.
Crazy.
Something to write down.
That's the craziest thing I ever heard of. Need cash? You can refinance your auto loan with Southern Security and never have a payment for 60 days. Southern Security will finance up to 115% of the current value of your vehicle. That's up to 72 months. To find out how to put more cash in your pocket, call our member service team. Yeah, you can talk to a person at 901-452-7900 or just go to the website, southernsecurity.org. Southern Security, proud supporter of the U of M, also of 901 Women. Southern Security, your home team credit union, federally insured by NCUA. And this portion of the show also brought to you by Grind City and their newest. That's called Gator Patrol. It's the Tangerine Cream Sour. I tried it. I like it. They're always thinking up new products. It's a taste of Memphis all the way. This one is refreshing. It's a sour. It's also sweet and tart. We call it sunshine in a glass. We'll let you decide how you want to call it. It's bright and juicy tangerine sweetness. It's perfectly balanced by a subtle hint of cream. So, you want something a little different? I promise you're going to like it. Check it out. It's the newest from Grind City. It's called Gator Patrol, a tangerine cream sour. When we come back to Atlanta, we go. Our coach, John Thompson, is standing by. We got lots to talk about in this crazy SEC, and he is next.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com. You're a contractor and you need concrete coating and supplies in Memphis fast, and you get this answer? I think we can order that stuff, but you're going to have to wait a few days for delivery. Why wait? Get your concrete coatings and supplies now at TSS Supply, where everything you need is in stock. If you're working in the tri-state Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi area, everything you need for concrete coating is at TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road, Memphis. TSS Supply specializes only in concrete coatings and supplies all in one place. If you're looking for a particular item, need large quantities, or just have general questions, call 901-729-0565, 729-0565, or you can email your question to Brad at tsssupply.com. The friendly, knowledgeable folks at TSS Supply have over 150 years combined experience in concrete coatings, materials, and supplies. Contractors, are you in town for a job or getting ready to do a job for a customer during their holiday shutdown? Then you should visit TSS Supply for your concrete coatings and supplies. Why wait for materials when TSS Supply has everything you need in stock and they can get it to you today or within 24 hours? TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. Join me and 3-time Super Bowl champion Devin McCourty for AFC East action this week when the New York Jets take on the Buffalo Bills. It's a great match of marquee quarterbacks as Aaron Rodgers battles Josh Allen. Don't miss it. It's on Monday Night Football.
Right here on Sports 56.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of the Pen, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing gift, because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And
listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church located in town Memphis.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloship.
To Atlanta we go. Our coach, John Thompson, standing by. Good
morning.
Good morning. If I had said to you preseason Vanderbilt was going to knock off both Alabama and Kentucky back-to-back weeks, 5 and 6, those weeks 5 and 6, what would you have said to me?
Oh yeah, I anticipated that. I thought they would for sure.
Oh.
Didn't everybody that had any knowledge of football,
Yeah.
could see some things coming and have a forecast? Absolutely. I tell you what though, if you look, you got to give Vandy credit. I think they're doing a great job. They have out-physicaled their last 2 opponents in Alabama and Kentucky, and Kentucky had kind of made their mark in being physical. But Kentucky, man, they were so bad in special teams. The snaps, the hold, they missed a PAT, they mishandled a field goal, they had a bunch of penalties. Vandy still was more physical and total. I thought they controlled the second half. But still, Pavia, he takes them at the end of the first half. He takes the ball down there as a 97-yard drive. Kentucky, I was obviously just kidding about that, but Kentucky's defense is good, not so much on their offense, and I just thought Kentucky played really sloppy, and Vandy believes they can win. That may be the biggest thing that Clark Lee's done, that he's got. You beat Alabama, you beat Kentucky, you ought to. I don't know how he explains Georgia State. But,
I don't either. Oh, that's the one bummer. But you look at the 2 losses combined: Georgia State 4, Missouri a field goal. It's 7 points in the 2 losses. This is my tough one for you today. They got Ball State next Saturday. They're like 26-point favorites in that game in Nashville. Then they got Texas. It's in Nashville, but we know what's going to happen there. Auburn at Auburn, South Carolina at Nashville, then LSU in Baton Rouge, Tennessee and Nashville. They need 2 wins. They got 3 that they're going to be either pick 'em or favorites in, other than the Ball State game, which they should win. Are they going to make a bowl?
I think they do. I really think they do. I just think they're playing with enough confidence, and I think, what is this, Clark's third year,
I think,
advantage, third or fourth or whatever. But he is a really, really smart guy. I guess that goes hand in hand with Vandy, but he loves where he is. This is not a stepping stone job for him. He came through. He was at Notre Dame, and then there he wants to do something there at Vandy, and they got him believing. Now they're not gonna go undefeated through these next 4, but I think they get I think they get 2 or 3 more wins, and I think we'll see them playing over the holidays. I certainly do.
Well, they could be here. They could be at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. I think there's a good shot if they become bowl eligible. All right, well, let's talk about Ole Miss and LSU. Ole Miss had the lead in the game until the final, 27 seconds, the tie. Then they got shoved back. They got sacked 6 times in this game. Shoved back. Kid kicks a 57-yard field goal. Now, I'm saying that's pretty darn impressive. Maybe this has turned the tide. And on the very next possession. First play, touchdown, game over. First time LSU leads in the game. The second crushing Ole Miss defeat in 2 games where they could have easily won both, the Kentucky game and this one. And now I don't think they can get back in the playoff picture personally, but now they got 2 losses, both in conference.
Well, it's going to be really hard for them with the 2 losses. They got to win out and got to finish. With impressing a lot of people and doing that, but it was a chaotic game. I mean, you're watching the game, you think, my goodness, LSU is just hanging around. Ole Miss just couldn't land a punch, man, couldn't land a knockout blow on them, couldn't do it. Nussmeier kept LSU in it, even though he threw a couple of picks, but he kept them in it and then made the play of the game. But I tell you what, Ole Miss has got a tough road. They got Oklahoma, then they got Arkansas, Georgia, all of the. I mean, OU is still OU. I don't care what you say.
Right.
And this is after an open date, and I think there's going to be so much speculation. I mean, going especially with Tennessee and Florida, and with the way that's gone, they're going. Lane's got to do a great job of holding this team together. I really think so. And with you find out how you can. This is another way of roster management. The team you got to keep recruiting the team that you have. You bring in a bunch of transfers, things don't go like they like, and you just haven't built that solid galvanized relationship with them. They've just been there a little while, and that can be a tough locker room. I'm not saying that is it at all. It may be great, but with speculation on Kiffin going to wherever, Florida would be the top of the list on that. And then with the locker room, I think Ole Miss has their work cut out for them. But more than anything else, they better score some points in the darn red zone. That's what hurt them. Yeah. That's what lost the game for them.
Well, they missed on a 4th and 1. They fumbled the ball. They had a couple fumbles in this game. So they kind of handed the game to them. Now, I got to give LSU, their defense is so much better than it was a year ago. They did force the 2 fumbles. They sacked them 6 times. But I know, and listening to Lane Kiffin, who usually, particularly in losses, doesn't pull punches. I mean, he said we gave the game away. We should have won the game, and I think he's right. You mentioned the speculation about Lane in Florida. That's going to continue all year. Florida outgains the Vols. They do a good job on that super quarterback who's so young now. It's starting to show the last couple of games. They actually had the ball 9 minutes more of possession time, which is a stat we don't look at enough. I think we should. If you look at like the Kentucky or the Vandy games in their 2 wins, they win the time of possession big time in both those games. So they're able to hold the ball and score just enough to do it. But I guess my first question is, it's a loss, but it's overtime. Tennessee is the better team, and they squeaked it out. Is Billy Napier doing enough to save his job?
Whew, what a question. There's so much pressure on Napier, and then you get down on the goal line, and Mertz fumbles on the goal line, and then the clock management at the end of the half when they take the 10 seconds off. That's still confusing to me. The difference in the game, Tennessee is finding a way to win. They got a freshman quarterback,
right,
and sometimes he plays like a freshman quarterback. But good teams find a way to win because, every game we talk about, it's hard to win a game anywhere
right.
in high school or in SEC. But I'm talking about Tennessee, and you can compare it to Florida. Tennessee doesn't have any reason to panic yet. Losing to Arkansas is not the end of their season. I think Josh Heupel has done a great job. He's got a freshman sometimes that plays like a freshman. But I say it seems like I say it every week. The run game was the difference in Tennessee in the second half. That's why they won the game. But to answer your question about Napier, that's I coach down there. That's when you lose, you got to walk across the street from the swamp to the practice field, and if you don't win the game, they try to run over you when you're walking across that street. And, they'll stop and let you go across after you win. So they're gonna have a hard time getting across the street for a little bit. But Florida special teams, you can look at things. They had 12 on the field at one time. There's no excuse for that. It happens. It happens a little bit in the NFL. It happens a little bit in college. It happens in high school. There's no dadgum reason. And they had more penalties on the special teams. It was a sloppy game both ways. But to answer your question, I think the heat's coming hard on Billy. I really do. There's just too many things to point at right now that I hope he can survive, but I think he's in a bad way.
Well, and they just think he's at home this week, but he's got to take on Kentucky, and they're hurting. And wow, every week is a hard week. Just ask Kalen DeBoer. He beats Georgia, then loses in the biggest upset this year probably to Vanderbilt. I guess Notre Dame NIU is right up there, and then he looks like he's going to lose to South Carolina. Wow, what a game!
I think South Carolina gave it away.
They did.
They played well. The South Carolina's front put pressure on Bama and dominated. I thought they dominated Bama. They had like 4 or 5 sacks in the first half. This is 2 weeks in a row that Alabama's been out physical by other teams. But you look at. I wrote down 3 things. South Carolina fumbled after they had got the interception in the end zone and let Bama go ahead. They pick it off in the end zone, then they fumble it right back to them. They busted coverage on the last Bama touchdown. Totally bust in the coverage. And on the 2-point play, my goodness, the quarterback tries to shot put it out there. They were wide open, and it just I don't know. I don't know how. If you go back, if you're Shane Beamer or you're anybody, if you're a Gamecock, you just don't know how you lose that game. I'm going to say Bama's going to have a hard time beating Tennessee the way they're playing now. And I'm saying that based off the way South Carolina should have beaten Alabama. They outplayed them and just made some terrible mistakes.
All right, another crazy week this week. You got Alabama, Tennessee, but the big one's Texas, Georgia. Wow. That game
I
in
know it.
Austin, the last time they played there, I think I heard somebody say it was like 1952, the last time Georgia played at Texas.
Well, what you were 8, 9 years old.
I
then,
was
probably, weren't you?
actually not yet born. There's very few games now where series have been played before my birth.
Yeah,
This
well, I
is
just
one of them.
remember growing up as a young child in Northeast Arkansas, just listening to you and being
Oh,
amazed.
come on!
So that's how it was.
Yeah. Well, that's
You
somehow you've gotten
and-
younger while I got older. I don't know how that worked.
Okay, you and George from WHBQ. That was my favorite.
Yeah, that was actually back. That was REC many years ago, starting in the early '80s. Crazy. All right, my friend. Enjoy next week. We'll talk about for certain the Alabama, Tennessee, and the Texas, Georgia game. Those are going to be so much fun to watch. Congratulations on your team's W this week too.
Thank you. We're getting ready to get into the playoffs here in a couple of weeks, so we'll be doing it.
All
So
right.
Thank you, man.
Very
Enjoyed
good.
it.
Me too. That's our coach. That's John Thompson. He's brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Team. Hey, it's a team, and they think like a team. Like, in order to protect you, they got to really know who you are, what you're all about. That's why they're going to sit you down and find out about your family and what your plans are and what your future really looks like, so that they can protect that future with life insurance or your car or your home. Same sort of philosophy when it comes to businesses, small to mid-size. That's their specialty. They'll know you, your product, your employees, forecast your business out, figure out what your budget is, and then they pick the perfect commercial insurance. Big Tiger supporters, that's what the Eflin Insurance Team is all about. Taking care of everybody the collaborative way. Go to their website. You'll love it. You'll be protected if you call Eflin. Back in just a minute, we go to Tampa. Our sideline specialist and SEC expertise and AAC expert, too. He's got it all. It's TJ Reeves, and he's next.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Generators. Right now, we're offering our Choate's Comfort and Safety Special. For a limited time, when you purchase a $99 tune-up, or if Choate's performs a repair, you'll receive a free 1-year standard fan plan membership at $400 value. Keep your home safe, comfortable, and running smoothly all year long with 2 maintenance visits, priority service, and discounts on future repairs. And for our existing loyal fan plan members, we have something special just for you. Enjoy a $1,000 loyalty coupon toward any new generator, tankless water heater, or HVAC system. It's our way of saying thank you for trusting us with your home. Add value, add comfort, and add safety to your home with Choates. Call us today at 347-8086 or visit ChoatesHVAC.com. Choates, let our family serve your family.
The Cooper Young Beer Fest is back for the 14th year, featuring more than 30 craft breweries. Be at 795 South Cooper this Saturday from 1 to 5 to learn all about and to taste the best beers in the Mid-South. Plus, there'll be music from Goner Records and food trucks for when you're hungry. Tickets are just $60 at cybeerfest.org. All proceeds benefit the Cooper Young Community Association. Come rain or come shine, come to the Cooper Young Beer Fest this Saturday, 1 to 5 in the parking lot of Midtown Auto Works.
Scott Graham here from Westwood One. Kevin Harlan and Devin McCourty will have the call coming up on
Oh, you're going to love this one, Brian. Rex Ryan just said the biggest mismatch in the NFL this week. Ben Johnson, the OC of the Detroit Lions, versus Mike Zimmer, the DC.
Well, Rex
for the
Ryan's
Cowboys.
mad that he wasn't hired the DC
Maybe
Cowboys.
so.
He's been very, very petty all season, Dave.
Oh, okay. All right. I kind of think he was right on this one.
We could have used him on yesterday.
Let's go to Tampa. TJ Reeves, our friend, our sideline reporter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, joins us. Now, first off, let's get an update. What the heck is going on in Tampa? Last I saw, there was still a whole bunch of people without power thanks to Hurricane Milton. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. It has been a mess and chaotic for so many different reasons, and sports are a great diversion. We need this. We're going to get into all the different diversions that we had this weekend. Yours, which, again, I'm a proud Memphis alum, so I was smiling, and you know this because you already spoke to both of us this morning. I live with a USF alum who's very quiet right now about what the Bulls didn't do against the Tigers. And then I was in New Orleans, obviously, with the Buccaneers. But, I mean, Wolo, there are still 500,000 people without power in the Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater area.
Wow.
The hope is that most of that will be restored by Thursday, some of it sooner. That's down from over 1.5 million people without power after Hurricane Milton on Thursday morning. So they've knocked it down 2/3 at the moment. So obviously, as we talked last Monday, we didn't know what would happen where. I kept saying to you, even if it doesn't hit Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, can they stage the game at Raymond James Stadium? And obviously they could not, and you covered all of that. And then you obviously have now been to Orlando and been there for that. And I know you blasted away at why was that game played in Orlando in front of 1,000 people, and there's a bunch of different things that go into it and a bunch of different opinions. Bottom line for Memphis is they won the game, and for USF, their season is now unraveled in a lot of different ways. But I understand it. I get it. I can tell you on the air that my father, who is a proud graduate of the former Memphis State in 1971, he and my mother have lived in their home in North Tampa for 30 years, and it is ruined because of floodwater from Thursday and Thursday night. So like tens of thousands of others, Wolo, they have, and we're in the process of helping them. They've got to get rid of all of their possessions, basically, rip the flooring out, rip the drywall out of the bottom of the walls of the house so that the rot and the mold doesn't infect the entire house. That process is going on. Their neighborhood, like so many other neighborhoods in Tampa Bay and in western coast of Florida, looks like a war zone where power hasn't been on. Possessions are all out on the side of the road. You guys have seen the images on the news and on the internet. So we're still living this, but at least sports was a really good diversion, including the diversion in the Superdome on Sunday. So that's a good thing. We have that. to get excited about.
Yeah, let's go there because that was really interesting. You jump up to a big lead right off the bat. I think it was 17-0. Lose the lead and still blow out the Saints on the road. That doesn't happen every day in the NFL.
My friend, I have been doing this for 20 years. It's a regular season game. It's not a playoff game, much less a Super Bowl. But that is as crazy a game as I have ever been part of. With fluctuation. I mean, basketball, we're used to runs, and you've been doing basketball forever, and so have I.
Right.
So you're used to scoring runs. But that's a 17-0 lead for the Buccaneers in the first quarter, playing with all that emotion. Remember, they evacuated to New Orleans. There's over 500 members of the Buccaneer organization, families, children, pets, that evacuated to New Orleans on Tuesday afternoon, a humongous undertaking. They spent the whole week in New Orleans, pent up, practicing at Tulane University, ready to play the game. Now they burst out 17-0 in the first quarter, and you're going, this is great. And then the second quarter happens with penalties, personal fouls, interceptions. The Saints are scoring. They've got a rookie quarterback, Spencer Rattler, playing for Derek Carr. And you're going, holy crap, did they just run out of everything, emotionally, physically, from all of this? But what a second half. To then shut the Saints out 27-0 in the second half, to have 595 yards of offense and put 44 offensive points on the board, 51 total. What a performance. Wild game, wild fluctuation in the game, and most importantly, the Bucs get the win, which you know what that means. You got the same thing in Orlando Saturday. That means happy post-game show, happy plane ride, coaches in a good mood for the coaches show. We love all that, Wolo.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of the Memphis game, you know, one stat we don't talk enough about is time of possession. You look at the Vandy wins in the SEC the last 2 weeks, look at time of possession. You take a look at a team, and in all honesty, had South Florida had Byron Brown, their really great quarterback, had he been able to play, this might be a whole different story because he's that good a player.
Right.
And quarterbacks mean a lot, for sure, in the game of football, both the collegiate or the NFL or the high school level, for that matter.
And to interject, Derek Carr means everything to the Saints, and he's not there. Same scenario, same thing you're talking about.
Exactly. So, but this is an Achilles heel to the system that teams who love that up tempo, it undoes them, and it undoes their defenses because they get fatigued. In this game that Memphis won, their time of possession was 41 minutes and 38 seconds. The Bulls, 18 minutes and 22 seconds going into the game.
Wasn't it like 25-5 in the first half?
Something like
USF
that.
literally had the ball for like 5 or 5.5 minutes because they kept going 3 and out. Well, and getting worn down, right?
Right. Well, they went 3 and out, but they went 3 and out by running with 30-second possessions because they never slowed the ball down. That's the system that they like to play. But you're fatiguing your defense. You're not giving yourself a chance. People this year have talked about Memphis's offense not having the big explosive plays they had in the past. This time they had a 31-yard pass play for a touchdown, first possession of the game. But part of the reason is, and it's part of the reason why they were +5 time of possession, 5 minutes going into this, and South Florida was -7 already, or almost -8. It's because Memphis has been playing with the lead, not chasing the lead, and so they've been more conservative, and they've been trying to have longer drives and using as much clock as they possibly could, and that's the difference here. Time of possession is an overlooked stat, but it is critical in a lot of these games.
The only caveat to what you're saying is if you're able to score quickly and score repeatedly quickly, that does make a difference. But if you're not scoring and you have a backup quarterback, it's insanity. And I know you got to go in a minute or two, but I mean, this is again for everybody there in the Mid-South and in Memphis. What has gone on in the West Coast of Florida and then to the east of you in East Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina with Hurricane Helene and the damage? That's not solved in a week. This is going to be weeks and months that we're dealing with this. So whatever you can give, whatever you can donate, charitable organizations, please do. We're all trying to come together here. There are a lot of people that are helping and assisting their neighbors, and that's reassuring. Different people in different parts, Wolo, of Tampa have power. We've opened up our home and said to people, hey, come here. We've got power, air conditioning, internet. It's a 90-degree day again today where you've got no power for the 5th straight day in a lot of places. So we're trying to help each other out. Sport's a great diversion. Buccaneers certainly gave a lot of hope with what they did, and now we'll play the Ravens next Monday night in Monday Night Football. I will preview that happily with you next Monday prior to Raymond James Stadium and the Buccaneers against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens.
It is interesting. We got 2 minutes.
Good.
How the Bucs are all of a sudden like national darlings.
They should be. Did you see what the Lions?
Got 2 Monday night games coming up in the next month?
Did you see what the Lions did to the Cowboys yesterday? Everybody, not just Wolo.
Oh yeah.
Buccaneers beat the Lions in Detroit in Week 2. That Commanders team is good with Jaden Daniels. Buccaneers beat them Week 1.
Oh, if I could say this, the Bears have a bye this week. The next week they play Washington in Washington. It's Daniels versus Caleb Williams. Those are the two.
And your Bears,
one of those are going to be Rookie of the Year.
Your Bears look good too. So, I mean, among the teams that look good, the Bucs have to be right there with firepower. You love the Nuggets. In the 49-year history of the franchise, and the Bucs have had a lot of bad years, 49-year history of the franchise, they've never had in the first 6 games 4 games where they've scored 30 or more. Yesterday was the 4th game where they've scored 30 or more in the first 6. So there is some firepower, and that's going to be a lot of fun with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens next week for Monday Night Football. So, it's been a rough few days, obviously. And, I mean, school is not in again in Tampa Bay and in the surrounding counties probably at least through Wednesday or Thursday. It's been out all last week. So these are difficult hardships we're going through, but we're persevering, my friend.
Yeah,
Best we can do.
Well, go help your mom and dad. Thoughts and prayers with all
Yep.
of you guys down there. In
I am
Tampa Bay.
disappointed that I did not get to see you in all the mayhem because you were due to have been here prior to the game being in Tampa. The game was never in Tampa. It was in Orlando, and I'm in New Orleans. But we will make it work down the road, my friend.
No question. Maybe basketball. That's a good possibility. That's TJ Reeves. We'll talk to him next Monday. He is brought to you in part by the good folks at the Spirit Shop. You know what you get with the Spirit Shop, folks. If you go to Poplar and St. Nick, right in the heart of East Memphis, that's Poplar 4848, right down from Clark Tower. It's a little log cabin. You've passed it by a million times. What you will see is the great ability to put as much stuff in a small place. It's spatial engineering, I call it. It's great. It really is. And he's got it all, and he's got great prices. And he educates you. He'll tell you why a rare bourbon is a rare bourbon. He'll tell you why some wine is really good. It's up and coming. Get in on it now, like he told me about Cornerstone several years ago. He'll show you why it's a bargain. This particular tequila, he's got it all. And he's got everything, including all the accessories. It's the Spirit Shop at Poplar and St. Nick. That'll do it for us. Big day tomorrow. Coming up next, Colin Cowherd. Don't go anywhere.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m.